All right, let's jump right in. We're all trying to get better at something, right? Whether it's at our job, with our team, or even just a personal hobby. But how do you actually know if you're getting better? Well, today we're going to break down a really powerful but simple tool that does just that. It's called benchmarking, and it's basically the art of knowing exactly where you stand.
So let me just ask you this. How do you know if you're truly winning? I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. You might feel super productive and your team might look busy, but are you actually ahead of the game or are you just, treading water? Without some kind of frame of reference, it is almost impossible to know for sure. And that feeling of uncertainty, it leads us perfectly to this first idea, the feeling of running in the dark. It's such a perfect way to describe what happens when we're just operating in a bubble, completely blind to what's happening outside our own little world.
Because here's the thing, without context, performance is nothing more than a feeling. You can feel like you're sprinting as fast as you can, but what if everybody else is running a marathon at twice your speed? We get trapped in these echo chambers, right? We're high-fiving our own progress, but we have no idea how we actually stack up against the best. Yeah, it feels good for a minute, but it's a pretty dangerous illusion.
Okay, so how do we flip the lights on? How do we get that crucial context we're talking about? Well, that's where we get what we call the view from outside. We absolutely need a way to measure ourselves against something external, something objective.
And here it is, plain and simple, benchmarking. It's just the practice of comparing your own performance against established industry standards. So the key here is that it's not about guessing or how you feel. It's about hard data. It's about looking at what the top performers in your field are doing, like what's the average customer support response time or a typical sales conversion rate, and then seeing how you measure up.
Let's go right back to that running analogy. This is the difference between just jogging by yourself around your block and actually lining up at the start of a real race. All of a sudden, you've got competitors, you've got mile markers, you've got a finish line, you have context. You know exactly where you are in the pack.
And once you're in that race, something really incredible happens. You start to see the distance between you and the other runners. And that brings us to the real core of what benchmarking does. It helps you find your gap. It really all boils down to this one simple, honest comparison. On one side, you've got your performance, what your team is actually doing. And on the other side, you have the industry standard, what's been proven to be possible.
And a visual like this just makes it crystal clear, doesn't it? Let's say the industry standard is a perfect 100, and your performance, well, it's at a solid 75. That space right there, between the top of your bar and the top of the standard bar, that's it. That is your performance gap.
And honestly, that's the entire point of this whole exercise. It highlights the gaps. It makes the invisible visible. It takes that vague sense of, we could probably be better, and turns it into a measurable, totally specific target.
But, and this is so important, seeing a gap isn't a sign that you failed. No way. It's the complete opposite. It's an incredible opportunity. It's literally a roadmap for how to improve. Just hand it to you on a silver platter. It tells you exactly where you need to focus your energy. Because once you see that gap, once you know exactly where you need to go, it creates this powerful spark, a spark of improvement that can totally transform the way you and your team work. It really just follows this simple three-step logic. First, you compare your performance to the standard. That comparison, in turn, helps you identify the gaps. And seeing those gaps, that's what inspires you to close them. It's just a beautifully logical and really powerful cycle. And we're not talking about a one-time fix here. That discovery is what inspires continuous improvement. It becomes a loop, you see. You find a gap, you work your tail off to close it, and then you go and set a new, higher benchmark for next time. It's a process that just keeps building on itself, creating some serious momentum.
Which brings us to our final big idea. This whole thing, it's not some complicated once-a-year review process. When you do it right, benchmarking becomes an everyday engine for growth. So let's just tie it all together, shall we? Benchmarking gives you clarity. The gaps it shows you create focus. The act of comparison fuels your momentum. And when you put it all together, it drives real, tangible improvement in your everyday work. It makes excellence a habit, not just some one-off project.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Whether it's for your career, for your team, or just some personal project you're working on, what's the one gap you need to see that could help you start improving like tomorrow? Go find your benchmark, identify that gap, and let that be the spark that drives you forward.